Wow, there's a lot of people here tonight. My inner 5-year-old is peeing himself right now. Do you guys remember when you were a kid? You were, what happened, right? I'm just kidding, you're still cute. I have some pretty vivid memories from when I was a kid. My parents divorced when I was 8 years old, and I remember thinking that it was my fault because sometimes they would argue about us kids. And I carried that self-blame around for quite a while. I remember hiding in my room with thinking, if there was something I could do or say to help. And after they divorced, we moved schools quite a few times, and I was always the new kid in class. And kids can be very cruel. They typically would bully and tease me relentlessly about being fat or about being one of the more struggling students in class. And it was in these times that I realized with how much they bullied me, how much that actually affected me. I would actually go home, and have you ever had something that you actually hated about your body? For me, I remember grabbing my rolls of fat and looking at myself in the mirror and just shaking it, hating it. And I wanted to just rip it off my body and throw it out. It was brutal. But moving on from that, in grade 7, I remember there was this cute girl that I had this crush on. And she asked to talk to me one day. She actually got her friend to ask me to talk to her on the bus. And I thought, this was it. I'm going to get a girlfriend finally. So I made my way over to the bus, and I got on the bus, and I remember seeing everybody else pile on. And then I saw her. And it felt like the movies. It was slow motion. The hair was blowing in the wind. The sun was shining on her. She came and she sat down on the seat in front of me. My heart was pounding out of his chest. So the bus turned on, we rumbled away, and I figured now's a better time than any. So I reached over the seat and I tapped her on the shoulder. And without saying a word, her and her friend, silently, looking straight ahead, just raised both their hands in the air and gave me the middle fingers. My heart sank, and I sank as deep as I could into that seat, and the back of the bus erupted in laughter. That was an hour-and-a-half long bus ride home, and it felt like days. That was my first heartbreak. So, as kids, all these things happen to us, and we add them up, and we start to make meaning of them. And for me, I started to believe that I was nothing but this fat, stupid loner of a kid. And you know what? It really broke me. It broke me down so much that I remember crying and thinking, okay, fine. If I can't be as fast as them or as smart as them, then I'm going to outwork them. And I chose to let their words that were meant to hurt me fuel me. And I got busy. So I got there. I went into the gym. I started working out. I sweat. I started 2 successful companies. And I got coaches whenever I needed something or whenever I'd hit a plateau, which quite frankly was a lot. They taught me things about fitness and health and business and success. And eventually, it started to work. I dropped 50 pounds of fat off of my body, and then I put on 20 pounds of muscle. And then I went after learning. I started to learn how to learn better. I actually had to reteach myself how to learn entirely the way that worked for me. So once I learned how to learn better, I actually learned how to let go. And when I let go of the emotional weight, and I let go of the physical weight. Recently, I got a message from that girl on the bus. She actually wanted to apologize to me. And it turns out the reason why she did what she did was because she was planning on asking me out on the bus, and she got scared. So in a pinch, she made a poor decision, but her actions were founded in fear. She never meant to hurt me or to let the other kids see it. And that's when I realized we carry so much around that we don't need to. We carry that emotional weight and that physical weight. And even worse, when all the teasing had stopped and those people were more kind to me, those words that they said kept going through my head over and over and over again. And I repeated them to myself consciously and subconsciously. It was amazing that those words had such a profound impact on me. And I realized that I never actually got to live as the man that I had become because I was still that boy. So, it wasn't until I actually had the courage to rip that negative programming, rip the words out of my head that those people had told me, and become the actual person that I wanted to become. And through all of it, I actually realized what my biggest motivation was. My biggest motivation, my biggest why, was actually my family. And it was my inner circle, and it was my community. And I realized that it was a service mentality that picked me up from when I was down. It brought me through my growing pains and through that growing experience. And that's why I truly believe that when we actually look to serve one another with heart, with love, that is where we actually become the best versions of ourselves, both physically and mentally. That's it.